This is Two Teachers Chat with your hosts, Brenda McCrate and Peggy Wilbur.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Peggy. How are you?
I'm doing well. The question I have today is about transitions and how do we help children to make the transition into our classroom from in the morning, from recess, from lunch, from specials. And we know that for some kids, transitions are extra hard. So what would you say about how to do this well?
Well, transitions are the most difficult part of the day. And for the most part, the worst transition is getting them into the classroom. So in the morning, if you're an elementary teacher and you have the whole class pretty much all day, it's really, really important to keep building those relationships that you have by greeting every student possible. I mean, the ones who are 15 minutes late, you're even going to greet them as they walk in the door with a hi, how are you, grab your seat,
Glad you're here.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
But it allows you to make that initial connection that sets the tone of the day, that I am here because I love you and enjoy you. And it also lets you assess who's where. Like, if a child walks in, and you kind of go, hi, how are you? And they brighten right up. That was a temporary thing. Maybe somebody spoke to them on the playground. But if they don't, you know you want to take extra care with that child pretty much all day, probably. Now, once you walk them to your door, or if they're at your door and you get to let them right into your door, before you even open that door to the classroom, you want them focused and set up. So first, you want to talk to them as a class and having a quiet signal, and you say, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go hang up your coat and backpack. I want you to go to your seat. I want to see you ready to listen. And if they're little, I might have them, or not very good at listening, I might have them repeat each thing before they even walk in. And then a lot of teachers will wait for the end of the line. I tend to kind of get the middle part in, watching them, and then kind of start to move into the classroom with them, so I can keep an eye on the kids that are hopefully doing what they're supposed to, and still keep an eye on the kids who are still wandering in. Then you're going to build that as a routine. Okay, so literally by October, they know the three things they always do is go hang up their coat, hang up their backpack, go to their seat, be ready to listen. Then they're ready for announcements or lunch count or saying the pledge, whatever comes next. And you have a quiet classroom ready to go.
Another version on the same thing, which is in my specials, I have something already waiting for them to sit down and do.
Absolutely.
And and it can be a 1 minute exercise or whatever. And part of that is set up so that those kids that are already calm and ready to roll can sit down and work, because I might have a couple kids that are sort of chronic unhappy people that bring whatever they're dealing with to my room, and I sort of need to repurpose their thinking and help them to reorganize. But I do it outside of the door.
Right, or at the edge of the door.
Okay.
So you can kind of keep an eye on everybody else. But again, you build that routine, and that's easy in elementary because we have them all the time. We pick them up from specials and we bring them back, or we pick them up from lunch recess or the lunchroom and we bring them back. And sometimes it can be something on their desk. Sometimes it can be simply that they know to go to the carpet because you're going to have read aloud right after lunch, and they always have that, and they need to be ready. And you walk in, and you can be walking in with those two that you're calming down or dealing with, he said this on the playground. Okay, can we take a deep breath? Can we deal with it later? Or can I just talk to you for a minute? Okay, let's get our breath under control. And the other reality is the transitions don't have to be perfectly quiet and smooth. we'd like them to be. That would be ideal.
Or maybe other teachers
Or
across
other
the hall would
teachers
like
or
ours to be.
administrators would like them to be.
Yes.
But kids are people.
Right.
And let me ask you, the last time you noticed a group of adults going in to a classroom of some sort for professional development, and they were all sitting quietly with their hands folded, ready to listen for
No,
the
I was
instructor.
hoping they'd be talking to each other, actually.
Exactly. So it depends, because you have to make it palatable for you. By the time I walk in and I'm in the front of the room, which is the signal for you better be ready, they're all ready. But there's been a little chit chat. There's been a little talk. Hopefully not big arguments and screaming, because that would be stopped quickly. But chit chatting and talking.
Or not fooling around.
Right, not punching, pushing, knocking people over, but just having that conversation and saying hi. And like we've talked about before, I practiced that. We practiced how to do that. The first week of school. Now, you came in pretty well. You must have learned it last year. That was great. This is how I want you to do it.
Will you do it as like a T-chart if you need to?
Yes.
This is what it looks like.
Coming
this
in
is
from
what
the
it
room
sounds
looks
like.
and sounds like this.
And sometimes they have to go back outside and practice it again.
Oh, the first
And
2
practice
weeks
it
or so,
again.
again and again and again. But
And in January.
And in January again.
After vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would act it out for them totally wrong, running in the room, screaming, throwing my coat on the floor,
Right.
All that. So they giggled and teed and thought it was
Right.
silly. And then almost right, where maybe I poked one kid on my way in, but other than that, I was good. And then I would show them exactly right. And then we would practice it several times, just maybe from the hallway into the classroom. And then we'd see.
Let's talk about the 1 or 2 students that might be dealing with additional transition issues, such as kids that have autism or on the autism spectrum disorder or ADD or whatever it is. How do you set them up for success? And I'm thinking of a kid that every day has come to me very unhappy. And so I have maybe a half a minute chat outside saying, so the other students have gone in, they've begun their work, and that's why I had the work. So I can help prepare him.
Which is a great
Or
idea.
a question on the board that they
To
are
talk
to
with
talk
a partner
with each other
about,
and get ready to answer. But for him, then I say, okay, you've come to my class. I'm so glad you're here. And this is what we are going to do today. Are you able to come in and begin working and basically think about your attitude? Can you come in with a positive attitude?
I think you're doing exactly the right thing.
Okay.
You've got the other kids working, so they're not being punished by this
Right.
child as far as
And they're not
losing
waiting.
instructional time, because we don't want that to happen.
Right.
He needs that little extra. And talking to like our middle school and our high school teachers, you guys deal with a new class every 50 minutes or 45 or whatever your block is. And even though it may seem like I am literally wasting 2 minutes of my time, I would still have those students lining up in the hallway and say to them, "Hi guys, I'm so glad you're here." Be a high five on the way in, or maybe a just hi, how are you? And then again, kind of planting yourself at the door jamb so you can look both ways, and having that warm-up exercise. If your administration says you can't keep them in the hallway because they've just got to get in and out, then you stand at the doorway. And yes, they're coming in, but again, you have that warm-up work,
And greet
and
them
you
by
say,
name.
"Howdy Joe, hi
Yeah.
Sue,
Yeah.
good to see ya." You see that kid coming in like this, and you say, "Hey, come over here, bud. You okay? I noticed, it looked a little, maybe like you're not okay." And maybe you get, "Oh, the last teacher, blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
Okay, can you take a breath for me? Because we're going to do well today together. I just know it. Can you take a breath? Are you okay? And usually that is enough. And it's not going to,
and it's cumulative.
It's cumulative.
So, I'll have a
Exactly.
student that is unhappy day after day based on, whatever, the class before or home stuff or
Mhm.
whatever, and girlfriend problems, whatever.
Yeah,
But
that's why I like
they like that structure.
Mhm.
And I even leave a message for the substitute. Be sure to say, welcome them into class if you can.
Yeah.
Because it becomes an important one-on-one piece of the structure. It lets them know, I'm so glad you're here,
Yes. Building relationships. And as we've talked about, that's the key to everything in teaching. And it certainly is the key to transitions.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
build those relationships and enjoy your teaching.
Thank you for watching 2 Teachers Chat. Until next time, and remember, teachers touch lives forever.